welcome to Pre-Match Focus with your host, me, Tim.
And me, Lee. How you doing, mate? Right?
Hi, mate. You?
Yeah, not too bad. Looking forward to a resume of normal football for a little bit.
Yeah.
We hope.
Yeah, I am massively. To be honest, I like the FA Cup. Pulls a place in my heart, but it's always nice to get back to the Premier League. And it's time to start picking up some points as far as my guys go.
Yeah, definitely. Well, when we get onto that bit, we have a little bit to say on that because obviously I think there's a couple of fixtures that were in the Cup have been replayed again in the Premier League, aren't they? So
yeah,
I think Leeds have got West Ham again, haven't they?
Yeah, United out Aston Villa, yeah.
Yeah, so it's been. I mean, it just feels like absolutely ages since there's been a proper full fixture list, doesn't it? So it feels like we was back in the lockdown again, like everything was scattered about.
Yeah.
There's still a few games to pick up on, so we'll hope that everything stays put this time. So
yeah. Right, well, what we're going to do is quickly browse over the Premier League fixtures for the weekend. We've got one fixture tomorrow night. We're recording now, it's Thursday night. Fixture tomorrow night, Friday. Saturday, we've got a few with a 12:30 kickoff, a 5:30 kickoff, and the rest 3 o'clocks, and then obviously Sunday games. So let's start with tomorrow night, and that is Friday the 14th of January at 8 o'clock, and that is Brighton versus Crystal Palace, Leroy.
Yeah, that strange derby's back again. It doesn't feel like long ago since we was actually talking about this the last time round, wasn't it? So
yeah, it seems like
it's the last round of fixtures, wasn't it? Last 4 round of fixtures.
We're repeating a few.
The way I look at this one, Brighton was sort of picking back up a little bit, weren't they, with the form?
Yeah.
And then, but I've seen that Palace seem to be nicking the odd few points, but don't think they're a stronger way. But when I looked at the recent history, they've actually won the last couple of visits to the Amex, so could be an interesting one. But expecting it to be a bit of a feisty one again because I think they'll just make it a whole heap of history out of nothing down there and start kicking off. And so
it'll be a tasty one, this, Again, I think I just think they're both looking miles better this year, and it's the type of game I was thinking about it and pondering on it. I'm like, who do I fancy with this one? Do I go down the middle and go a draw, and I went, no, I'm going with Brighton. I think
you're going with a win.
Yeah, home advantage, I think.
I think the form from this season should show that Brighton should be winning it, but I've felt like with it just going back to its normal flow again, Palace not in bad form, but they're not as brilliant away. I went for a draw myself. Mm-hmm. I think that pinned it was the last 2 games that they'd won there. I'd probably see if I could play out a prediction, maybe Brighton leading for a bit and then Palace nicking one, almost like they did at the Emirates a few months ago. Yeah, they just weren't really in the game and then managed to pluck out a draw out of it.
Okay, something from the result, yeah. I did think that way. I thought it could be a draw, but I don't know. The more I watch Brighton, the more impressed I am with them.
Yeah, they seem to be coming back to a bit of form now. Like I said it with Brentford and Brighton, they'll have a bit of a drop off. Brighton seem to have picked themselves back up now. Mm-hmm. And they've got players coming back as well, slowly but surely. So they should be fine. I've gone for 1-1 draw on this one.
1-1 draw. I've gone with 2-1 to Brighton. So what's your tip for that one then, Lee?
Because it's usually quite a feisty game. I think usually the feisty games end up being at Sellers, and I don't know whether that's to do with the more enclosed atmosphere, but maybe they'll bring that game to Brighton to try and frustrate them. So I've gone for over 45 booking points on that one.
Over 45 booking points. Right.
I think Jared Gillett is the referee. He's Australian one. It hasn't been too bad so far, but I've looked at his form and he's been dishing out only a couple of cards a game. Where he does have some where he completely blows up. I think there was one where he handed out about 7 yellow cards in one game early in the season. So
Giddy!
They usually love a booking in Australia, so I'm surprised he hasn't come around booking everyone anyway.
Probably just like adding a bit of colour into people's lives.
Yeah.
I love yellow, I love red.
I think he's waiting
Yellow.
for the. I think he's waiting for the hierarchy of like the Mike Deans and that to rub it into him. But he shouldn't be refereeing so well, so
Yeah.
they'll just destroy him soon. He'll become one of them.
Oh, don't say that. We don't need any more of them. Right then, on to the Saturday kickoffs. We've got the 12:30 first, which is arguably the biggest game of the weekend. Man City versus Chelsea at the Etihad.
Yeah, I was going to say it's unarguably the biggest game, but then you look down and it's the Spurs Arsenal as well, isn't it? So in terms of a derby, it wouldn't be as big with it, but in terms of the positions, it ain't going to get much bigger at the moment. So it's a bit of I'll say a tough one. It should be City winning, to be honest with you, but sometimes you just get a complete turnaround on these games, don't you?
Yeah.
Chelsea, if they turn up on any day, they'll beat anyone.
Yeah, I agree. But I don't know, it's like watching the Chelsea match against Tottenham, although Tottenham were absolutely awful. That should never have been a disallowed goal, by the way. But Chelsea managed to pull something out there, but I don't know. They're not Man.
Yeah, it could have been a different story if it weren't for all the overturns on the VAR and that. And
not that it'd have made much difference, but to the overall score.
Yeah. I mean, even if they had, they've maybe gone behind, they might have seen a reaction from Chelsea, wouldn't you? But Tuchel wasn't happy in his post-match comments to the performance, and they have to up it 100 times more to play against City.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. What are you saying?
I've gone for City to win 3-1. I think if City turn up, then that's it. But it depends on what Chelsea get as well. They're going to have a good game plan to get a result at City.
Well, I've gone a bit closer. I've gone with 2-1 City, but I do think City will win, especially at home.
I think Chelsea have had the better of the meetings recently. I think they did the double over them last year. I'm sure they did.
Yeah, they did. And obviously, they done them in the cup finals, didn't they?
Yeah, but that identity that I saw last year, where there was like really compact and hard to break down, I think ever since I mentioned it early in this season, it seems to have just diminished now. It just seems to have, you don't see as much of it, do you? With Chelsea, they don't seem to have that identity now.
No.
It seems to be more free-flowing games and in terms of goals.
Do you remember about 10 weeks ago, maybe 12 weeks ago, when that computer predicted the league table by whatever it was? And
I don't remember the outcome of it, but I do remember
Chelsea top, and by that stage, you were only going to concede one more goal for the rest of the season.
I think they conceded one every game since, haven't they?
I think they have, jinxed them.
I mean, that's what I mean. Like that tight structure that they got at the back just seems to have gone, doesn't it? He just seems to fancy scoring against Chelsea at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Even Wolves scored against them, but it was disallowed. Wolves can't score.
You definitely get him. I think if Azpilicueta's playing, obviously his legs ain't as young as they used to be. Christensen, you can get at him a bit. I think Rudiger's been a good player, but I suppose when Rudiger and Thiago play together, it's fairly difficult. And I think Reece James, if he's playing, it's difficult to break him down. And on the left-hand side, when Chilwell's obviously slightly more difficult to break down than Marcos Alonso.
I think that's probably took away a little bit of it because Alonso, all right going forward, but not the greatest.
Terrible at the back. And and I think most teams are thinking that. It's like obviously at right back and at left back you can get at them now. Whereas at the beginning of the season and back end of last season, you had a decent fit in there with Chilwell and Reece James. And to be honest, arguably
as well, isn't he? No, Reece James out for a while as well. No.
Yeah, he's out for a bit, I think. Yeah. So I don't know. I just think it opens it back up again, really. And I don't know what Liverpool's score is yet, but it's Liverpool and Arsenal are playing in the cup as we speak. It was 0-0 not so long ago, but Granit Xhaka had been sent off for an absolutely stupid stupid challenge on Diogo Jota. So
good old granny, Ty. Good old granny.
what an absolute wally that guy is. I tell you what, it's like how to stuff your teammates with Granit Xhaka. Episode 19. He's just
every season.
He's just the type of person I would absolutely love to revoke his contract and be involved at Arsenal just to do that, because the guy is an absolute pleb. He's just no brains at all, honestly. He's just thick. I thought they'd done well getting rid of him, and then he just appeared there again. You're like, I thought he'd gone.
It's been about 3 or 4 years since he was going mad at the Arsenal fans walking off the pitch, wasn't it? And still there.
Never improved, though, has it?
No, there's probably been a couple of games I thought, it looks okay here, but then it don't last long. The form down.
A season of 38 games. Come on.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it?
It's embarrassing, isn't it?
Yeah. They do need the shake up there in the summer. They have brought in new players there in the middle, but I think the old deadwood / bad eggs need to go.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's like Ozil all over again.
He got the mention in my worst team, didn't he? But
yeah, exactly.
but he got a place in my worst team. I mean, a lot of people have, even though I've mentioned it to Arsenal fans, and they've been like, "Well, have you put him in? He was class." But for me, he should have left the Premier League a legend. So that's the only reason I put him in.
He was good in his day, but there was many players that were good in the day as well.
Yeah.
But, right. Well, anyway, what's your tip for that one?
I've gone both score, no draw. Every chance. I mean, like, City have been decent defensively, but even Swindon broke them down. Maybe it was a bit more complacency against Swindon at a point when the game was already won.
Yeah, I'd say
even
so.
If Swindon can score against them, Chelsea can score against them. So I've gone 3. I've gone 3 once. I'd be both score, no draw. Would be my tip for that.
Okay. Right then, on to the 3 o'clocks then. The first is Burnley at home at Turf Moor to Leicester.
Be interesting to see what direction Burnley going now. I mean, like
they got rid of this striker.
They got 25 million for him, which is a brilliant deal for a 30-year-old. Are you going to invest it back in someone who's going to be proven to do it?
He was the only place that looked like getting goals to me, though.
Yeah, I mean, Cornet was doing the business, wasn't he? But
yeah,
obviously,
I saw Cornet as well. But yeah, how long's that gonna go on? Like,
yeah,
because I think a lot of that. Don't forget, Wood and him were playing off each other, so
it's been a bit of a. If there's any difference you could say, has been in Burnley has been that link up top, because they're used to playing 2 big men up top, aren't they?
Yeah.
Now you've lost your main big man up top, and I haven't seen Ashley Barnes this season. Jay Rodriguez is probably declining in ability. He'll probably play this weekend. I'd imagine they won't have a replacement by then. So
I imagine he'll be playing probably most of the season unless they, as say, do bring somebody in. But who are they going to bring in? You'd have to be a championship player. Someone.
Yeah, I was looking at it in. I haven't seen who they've been linked to, but if I had the choice of a championship player to come up now, it'd be Mitrovic or Ben Brayton Diaz, but they've both got a chance of coming into the Premier League and Burnley going down. So would they take that risk?
Still in a half decent position for it though.
Yeah, definitely. And the track record recently has been they've been going out of this situation. But there's always that risk. And I think if you're Mitrovic at the moment, you think
I think someone like Brereton Diaz is the type of player that they need, thinking about it, thinking about how Burnley play now. Because tell you what, a bit like you guys at Wolves, where I was saying the other day, they put a hell of a lot of balls in the box, just need somebody in there. And
yeah,
that's what I'm thinking. And obviously he's good with his head. He's, I think it could work. You've got to replace Chris Wood, what he does for that team, I suppose.
Well, I'll mention when we do our championship part, but when Wolves were in the championship, like when people like Benik Afobe were banging in 20 goals a season, and Ebanks back, that was getting linked with Premier League moves when we was looking on the cusp of getting into the Premier League. And
yeah,
this is going to be the one thing that you know, it ain't just going to be the players; it's going to be the clubs as well, because they're going to feel they're so close to getting back to the promised land. You know, why would you sell it even for that amount of money? You just do it in the summer.
Yeah.
So it's going to be hard to pluck out a Championship player especially if they're challenging for the top. There ain't many others out of the top 6 that are banging in goals. Who's going to be at Premier League level at the moment? So
I agree.
So it's going to be tough unless they go foreign again. It's work with corner, so would they?
I think that's probably what they most likely do. I think. You know, finding someone who's banging in goals for a slightly smaller team, maybe in the Champions League, even. You know.
Yeah, I mean, look at someone like Pat. Well, I wouldn't say Smalling's in Salzburg, but they're not a European giant, are they? A lot of those players will come to England if they impress in the Champions League. Good look at teams like that. Now, Patton did it, and they don't come to Leicester. I think Allen played for them, didn't they? Salzburg.
Yeah.
So
I'll tell you who I'd be taking a punt on. What was he called? Dennis? Is he called Dennis? What's he called for Atalanta? The striker that we're on about, Zapata.
Oh, Zapata, yeah.
Mate, someone's got to be lining him up.
Yeah, I wouldn't thought it would be Burnley, but I think they'll price him out too much. But I don't think he'd change that level of where he's with Atalanta to go to Burnley.
Get him in. Break the bank.
I'd have to do some research and see what might be. I think it's going to be someone who's out of favour if it's going to be a foreign club. Unless, like we've mentioned, it's going to be a Salzburg where they're willing to sell one of their style.
I think they're just going to get someone who's Premier League proven. I think who's obviously not playing. I think it could be anyone from anywhere, really. You think of some of these players, which are not been even getting a look in this season, which you've heard of before. There's quite a lot if you go through the Premier League.
I mean, like, you'd be looking at
strikers.
Be looking along the lines of someone on the same talent as Divock Origi, I suppose, but
maybe, or even thinking of something like Shane Long.
He could do, because he hasn't played as many games, but I think he's notorious for not scoring many goals, but he's an hard worker. But need to replace.
That's what they need.
Yeah,
they need someone who's willing to graft, but also can ping a few goals.
Yeah, I'd say if I was to pick someone around that price range of what the sold would for, Origi would be my choice, but I don't think he would, because I think he turned down a move to Wolves a few times.
Only on too good a money there where he is, really.
Yeah, well, I think he sees his sights a bit high. I think he sees himself as a Champions League player, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I do particularly think he's amazing, but I think he sees himself like he seems to turn up in the big games, doesn't he? I don't think Burnley would feed his imagination on that one. On Leicester's point of view, they've improved. I've had them to win this one. I've had Leicester to win 2-1. I think you're slowly starting to see them get a little bit back to the best, to see how they react when they get back to Europe. Oh, no, they're out of Europe now. I think they've got the second Europa League thing, haven't they?
They're going into the conference thing, aren't they?
Yeah. Sounds bad, doesn't it? A Premier League team getting into the conference.
Conference. I just think it's all madness. But
never should have got rid of the old UEFA Cup and the Cup Winners' Cup.
Well, I've gone with, what did you say, 2-1?
2-1 Leicester, yeah.
Well, I've gone 3-1 this time, Leicester.
I think I might have had that at first, and I think I might have changed it for some reason. I don't know why.
I just think Leicester, most shots they're hitting are going in at a minute.
Yeah.
And when you've got that rub of the green, I think it's hard to kind of bet against it. And I think Maddison's looking good without Vardy actually doing anything. Daka's obviously not scored in a few. But they're getting goals from other places. Brighton's pitching in, you know.
Harvey Barnes always does.
Harvey Barnes is scoring plenty of goals this year.
Tillman's.
Yeah, he's on penalty duty now, isn't he? So, yeah, it seems to be coming together for Brendan. But yeah, I've gone with 3-1. I think they'll be way too strong for him. And let me write on. What's your tip for this game, Lee?
It's over 9.5 corners. 10 would win you the best. I think Burnley concede a load of corners at home. I've seen in recent games, and Leicester usually win a load of their home ground. So I'd imagine they'll come attacking Burnley here, and Burnley will get their fair share as well. So 10 corners win you that bet.
Mm-hmm. Superb. Right then, next 3 o'clock kickoff, we've got richest club in the world at home to Watford. Should be an absolute 6-pointer, this one.
Could be the most entertaining one. It doesn't look it when you mention it, but I think I watched Newcastle's game against Cambridge on the stream, and Cambridge were unlocking their defence like Newcastle would lead to.
Right and centre, mate.
And I'd imagine I'd imagine they're not going to have any reinforcements by the time that Watford comes round. Watford can score, but they also concede. So I think there's going to be a load of goals because they're just both absolutely shocking at the back.
Yeah.
Watford have lost a couple of their players to the African Cup as well. I think they've kept a couple, haven't they, against the national teams?
Yeah, they didn't like it.
Benefits Watford. But no, Troost-Ekong isn't, in my opinion, not great anyway. But he's missing the Africa. He's gone with Nigeria, so they'll have to bring someone in, probably Craig Cathcart or something like that.
Yeah,
if he hasn't been playing already.
I'll be playing.
Yeah, but I'll say I've gone for 2-2 because I think Newcastle. I'm going to say they was unlucky not to score against Cambridge because you should be battering them, but because they were looking fairly fluid in attack, they just weren't taking the chances at all.
Weren't taking the chances. No, you're right.
Did it against United, didn't they? But when the crowd's up and for them in the league, and every game's going to be like cup final for them at St James's now.
Oh yeah.
But I've gone 2-2. I think the defence will let them down again, stopping them getting that 3 points. Trippier will probably play again, and Chris Wood, I don't think should be in the team. Might give him even though it's been slated a little bit as transfer, I think it's a decent one for what it is now.
It's a far cry from Mbappe, isn't it?
No, it probably wouldn't even be that far off in impact, to be honest, if you put Mbappe.
You know what? You're absolutely right, actually. You're absolutely right. Do you know what? I think Chris Wood's a great signing for Newcastle.
Well, you've took a star striker off your relegation.
Off your rivals.
I don't think they've done. Yeah, I don't think they've done it at a spite. I think they actually wanted him. I think they thought this is what we need. Like we've brought in a crosser of the ball in Trippier to feed the ball onto him. Fraser's a decent crosser of the ball. So Maximin, even though he does about 1,600 dances around his defenders before putting the ball in, he does try to get it in.
He's always like that. It's like he's dancing.
Linton's been brilliant since has been there. Just needs to add them goals to his game, doesn't he? Yeah. But he looks a completely different player.
Oh yeah, revitalised, mate. Completely different player.
Yeah. Some it's not. I'm not just blaming the black line of Newcastle, but some of us should be wrong with the midfield. How easily Cambridge got through.
The centre mid pairing is not great, is it?
No. I mean,
Hayden's not a Premiership player for me.
I do like him. I think he'd be a good squad player, but I don't think he's a star. I think he'll still be there when they get their.
Yeah, he will. They need to keep most of the players, I reckon, though, don't they?
Yeah, to at least back it up for now until they have a complete shuffle over.
Yeah.
Shelby's not. I mean, like he does show glimpses, but he's not half the player he used to be. Shame with him because there was a lot of talent there when he was a young kid.
Yeah, there was. He's not interested, really. There for a paycheck, I think, isn't he?
Yeah, a lot of Voldemort.
Well, I've gone with 2-1 Newcastle.
I think they'll bounce back.
I think they're going to win it. I think that this is the game they're going to win it. And I think they'll be bouncing. I think if Burnley lose as well, which we both said they will, I think Newcastle could be flying high this weekend. And I think no better game to do it than at home to Watford. You're taking 2 out at once. And yeah, I think they've got it in the bag. So what's your tip for this one then, Leroy?
Well, we love a debut goal, don't we? So I've gone for Chris Wood to score any time. If he plays. He should play, I'd imagine.
I think he'll play, mate, yeah.
If it's all down to registration more than anything in it, I don't think there's no issue in terms of his fitness. So.
No, I wouldn't imagine. So he's been playing loads of games. Right, 3 o'clock, Norwich at home to Everton at Carroll Road. This could be a bleak game. The last one weren't too clever neither.
What score was that last time? Was it?
I think Everton won.
Everton won?
Everton won like 2-0 in the end.
I sort of vaguely remember the game, yeah. Everton obviously have been really poor this season. They had an okay start to the season, but then they just got, I don't know, they just seem all over the place. And then you've had Luca Dean come out and basically been ostracised by Rafa Benitez. We don't know what this new Ukraine, he could be an amazing son, this Ukrainian kid.
Is it Michaelenko, is it?
Yeah, he did play against Hull, but I didn't see much of that game as I was occupied. So, yeah, I don't actually know he did, but I'd imagine if Hull had scored 2 against you, then it can't be too aggressive. And yet, well, with Norwich, I watched, like there was a more extended highlights on. I wouldn't say it was a complete full team, but they needed to put out a decent team against Charlton to try and get some confidence back in winning, because winning breeds confidence, as you know.
Yeah.
They didn't look convincing at all, to be honest. How Charlton didn't score, I'll never know. No, probably thanks to Tim Krul for half of it as well.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he's stuck it there, to be honest with you. I think he's still capable of playing at a higher level, but in the Premier League, Tim Krul.
Might go back Newcastle soon.
It might do, yeah.
Take another one from rivals again and going back to where he was before.
You never know. He might be a backup there, I don't know. You never know. Yeah, that's just not been convinced by him, but saying that at the same time, I think Everton are just so inconsistent as well. I've gone 1-1 on this one.
Well, I've gone with 1-0 Everton because I think it's going to be such a bleak game, but then there's just going to be one scrappy goal. Probably around in between 70 and 80 minutes, I'm guessing. And I think it'll be someone like you don't expect. Michael Keane, I reckon, something like that.
Used to be my old favourite for a defender to score.
Michael Keane, or what's the other fella called who plays at back occasionally with him?
You got Godfrey and Aldgate and
Mason Aldgate. Scrappy goal or something.
You never know.
So what's your tip for this one, mate?
I've just gone both teams to score on this one. Couldn't really see much depth into it to see, but yeah, both haven't been that great defensively. So I think one good thing for Everton is Calvert-Lewin being back, though he did miss that penalty when he returned. It was a poor penalty.
Well, it makes the thing is, it makes everything that Everton play, the reason they play the way they do, obviously we said it before, they bought 2 wide men so they can get the ball into the box for Richarlison and Dominic Calvert-Lewin. But when you've got one of them who's your major like heading threat not in the team, then it's almost like they're trying to cut inside more then, instead of giving the option to go outside and get them ping the ball in. Because to be honest, there's only so much you can go outside and knock the ball in for Rondon to get nowhere near it. In there, you know, it's like you're just banging your head against a brick wall. But yeah, I fancy 1-0 Everton, because Norwich just look all out.
Well, they have scored the least goals, but they've got to score some more at some point.
Mm-hmm. Right then, another 3 o'clock. Last of the 3 o'clock kickoffs on Saturday.
You're still there?
Huh?
You're still there? Sorry, you're saying my internet connection is unstable. That's not good.
It's you blaming me.
Yeah, it's me for one, sister.
Right, the last of the 3 o'clock kickoffs is your team Wolves at home to Southampton.
Yeah, I'll be there if I can get in. All these restrictions going on and all that.
Now. Jabbing you in your eye.
They might just wind me up to start me into a fight before it even starts. So yeah, I think that's what I'm more concerned about.
All right, Lee, How's the game? I don't know. Watch it. Just go
home. It's always a tight one. I mean, even when Southampton have been at the, you feel like they've been at the worst. They seem to come back and give you a tough game. I think they always seem to nick a goal at our place. I haven't had them score in this one. I've had us to win 1-0 because it just seems to be the norm at the moment. They'll either win or lose 1-0.
Mm-hmm.
But I should imagine we should be able to break down their back line. Most teams have done. But it's usually teams like this that'll surprise you, where you think, oh, we've been so comfortable against City and Liverpool, and yes, them teams scored against us, but in dodgy circumstances.
Yeah.
But for most of those two games, even when we was down to 10 men against City, I couldn't see us conceding. It took a penalty to do it. So we have looked good. I just hope there ain't no lapse of concentration. I watched the Sheffield United game at home. And if I was a Premier League team, they would have scored 3 in the first 15 minutes. But they got behind our backline, I think they got behind our backline more times than United, City and Liverpool
put together
in whole game in 15 minutes, and that was Sheffield United. I was like, what on earth's going on there? I know we'd lost, obviously Sice had gone to the African Cup. But Mark Alley's in the centre-back.
Oh, he's had a couple of donkeys, him. He's like, I don't know. Don't know what I think of him.
Yeah, he seems to have something lacking in his game for a natural wing-back, but he has given good effort in those.
He likes a shot. He's not scared of a shot from anywhere, is he?
It's never any good.
That's the thing.
I think if he actually thinks he's Roberto Carlos half the time. But no, far from it.
One once in training and thought, I'm well good at this.
I think many of our players do that, and then when it comes to match day, we can't score at all. So who's going to go in there? I mean, you think the obvious choice would probably be Dendoncker because of his size and that, but he is a bit slow at, if that ball goes in behind, he's a bit slow at going back. He'd be good aerially. I wasn't too convinced at him at centre-back either. But my choice would probably give Dion Sanderson a go, but his return from Blues could be a risk, but I think he's well marshalled into, he's been trained at Championship level with Birmingham.
Yeah.
Had a spell at Sunderland, they loved him. He had a spell at Cardiff, they loved him. They've loved him everywhere he's gone, so it's got to be his chance to get in there, because I can't see Willy Bolly playing for us again.
This is the times where you got to give him a chance, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I had that. I do. I think he deserves that chance now. He's got enough Championship experience under his belt to try and give it a go. I think this would be the perfect game to get him into.
Yeah.
Because he's up against strikers that have learnt their trade in the Championship. So, yes, Che Adams and Adam Armstrong have propelled themselves. Well, Che Adams definitely has. I'm not too sure on Adam Armstrong yet, but they've propelled themselves.
I think it's Brozier and Adams now, which
yeah, Brozier would be one, yeah. So, but he's like a rough and tough forward as well. So
quicker than I thought he were, him.
Yeah, he's smaller than you think he is as well. Do you get that imagery? He might be about 6'5", but he isn't.
He's tall.
Yeah, he's a tall lad, but he's not as big as you actually think. I don't think so. Well, I'll see when I see him live, I suppose.
You'd be like, "God, blimey, he's massive."
When
right,
Mexico.
Well, I've gone with. You're not going to like this kid. 2-2.
Interesting.
I think it's going to be an all-out. I think there's goals in this game. I think they're going to unlock each other. It's the type of game. Thinking of both how I've watched them both this season. I think this has got the hallmarks of being all out. Both teams are just going to go for it. I don't think there's going to be any holding back, and I reckon it'll be stalemate. The way Southampton are draw specialists, they ain't going to come out of this game losing. And at the minute, Haslund's doing something right, mate. Honestly, I don't know what it is and what the difference is, but something's happening. And obviously, they're on about the takeover as well. Good times at St Mary's, mate.
This stage of the season, he seems to start picking them up again, doesn't he? And because usually they have a bit of a stinker, don't they? And then
Considering they got rid of who I thought was the biggest threat in Danny Ings, I think they've done really bloody well.
Maybe they've took that pressure off themselves with trying to look for him for the goals all the time. So
Yeah.
Shay's stepped up a little bit, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I don't think he'll ever be a natural 20-goal season scorer, but he's definitely a
Could get 12 to 15 though, couldn't he?
Yeah, he's a handful.
Mm-hmm. Right, so what's your tip for this one then, Lee?
You know, I love the bookings on the Wolves game. I haven't gone for the left back because I don't know who that's going to be, because I believe Livramento, who's the right back, he's out, and Kyle Walker-Peters, who has stepped in at left back, he's out as well. I think there's a guy called Pruitt, the left back, but I don't think he's been booked yet so far this season, but probably will this one. But I've gone for Bednarek to be booked for Southampton and Moutinho to be booked for and Moutinho for Wolves. I keep saying Moutinho because he hasn't since I've said it, and he's gonna eventually because he always does.
He's probably thinking, "What's your deal with me, man?"
Just kick someone, Joe. Just kick someone.
Right, let's fly across to some of these then. We've got the 5:30 now, which is Aston Villa versus Manchester United.
Villa will feel, could I say hard done by, but
yeah,
I feel like
100% hard done by.
Yeah, well, I texted you in the week, didn't I? I said you want to think that Man United are winning this game. It just feels so toxic there. It might actually benefit Man United to be away from Old Trafford. So I think they love playing at Villa Park, don't they? Historically, they usually get the result there, don't they? But I think.
But I don't know. I think things are what people are forgetting, and I have to keep reminding myself about this some stages. Is although the football is dogging, right? It's dogging. But we're doing one thing which we weren't doing before, and that's picking points up. And that is the sole importance at this stage now. If you can still pick points up and not play well, there's got to be a point where it turns and you've got to play well. You're going to play well. You get used to this system and it works. You know, I have full hopes that it will work. And I think it's time to start singling out and exposing some of these prima donnas, which are long overdue, and start playing some lads that really want to play for the club. And if that means sacrificing some silly big wages, don't matter, get rid of them. There's nobody bigger than the club. And we've got to go back to that. Tell you what, in Ferguson's day, if any of this unrest and blah, 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 and there were people here, there and everywhere, or Dean Henderson walked out of training the other day.
Yeah. I've heard he asked for a transfer request, didn't he? But...
yeah, walked out of training. I'd be like, right, mate, contract.
Yeah.
See you later. You're a free agent. Go and sign for whoever you want.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you're getting paid so much. I know it's frustrating for him, feeling like it might have been his time, but look at the form.
Looking Greg's.
Yeah. Look at the form De Gea has been in. It's not like you can really just turn around and say, well, I want him out of the team now, isn't it? So
De Gea, since he got COVID, Dean Henderson, when he was like, it was neck and neck and we didn't know who we were going to put in. And it was like a big media thing where they were like trying to get Dean Henderson in the net. And realistically, we're never better than De Gea. He was never better than De Gea. De Gea had a bad spell. But come on, out of like 12 years that he's saved our bacon, you know, he had one really bad season and everyone's calling for his head. But look at him now. He's not had a bad game since then.
Yeah, I say he's pulling out a world-class save every game as well, isn't he, at the very least?
Every game, just like he used to do. And I just don't think you can turn around and say he's better than De Gea and he deserves his chance to be number one for Man United. I think that boat sailed. Unfortunately, it's all about timing, and his timing, he got COVID. That was his time. And shit happens, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
But start spitting your dummy out and walking out of training. Bye-bye, not interested. You don't deserve to play for this club.
I do wonder if he's heard something from Newcastle. I do also have some interest from Newcastle, maybe.
Maybe.
I see him as a long-term interest, and then it might have turned his head a bit.
Maybe, because
I have a feeling something like that's
let's
happened.
be honest, it's one of few places that he can go now and get 120 grand a week or more.
Yeah, not many are going to play that, you know.
Because he ain't going Chelsea, Liverpool, or City.
It'd be the same story, wouldn't it? He'd be back on the bench. So.
Yeah, well, they wouldn't have him. He's not up to that standard. So unless he's going signing to be a number 2, but you may as well stay at United if you're going to be a number 2. So he wants to play. So if he's wants to play and he wants to play in the Premier League, he's got to play at somewhere where he's going to get a game, and he's got to play at somewhere which can afford his wages, because he ain't going to drop wages. It doesn't happen that. He's got to match or at least better his wages wherever he goes now. That happens throughout his career. Unfortunately, United have put him in a position where, because they were so indecisive and didn't know what to do, they've put him in a bit of a precarious position, really, because he's not an 120 grand a week keeper. So what do you do? So as far as he's concerned, he's going to go, I'm an 120 grand a week keeper. He's not going to want less than that. Anywhere he's going. If you go and work, if you're on a standard, like just a normal job, imagine your job or my job. You don't go to your next job and go, yeah, I'll take less than what I was on before. It doesn't happen. You progress, you get more, and then your next job, you get more, and then your next job, unless you're paralyzed or something, but someone's just keeping you on to kind of because they like you and they want you around, but you can't do what you were doing before. Maybe that's a slightly different situation, but come on, it doesn't happen. He's going to be wanting 120 grand minimum wherever he goes next. Who's going to pay that? Who's going to pay him that?
Well, you go for the team. You go for the team. We've mentioned the top 4 ain't going to have him. Then the only ones that you can really mention, like Villa, can pay that money, but they get Emi Martinez, who's
you ain't going to drop him for Emi Martinez.
Martinez is playing out his skin. Spurs, maybe, if Lloris is coming.
Everton could, but they've got Jordan Pickford. They ain't going to drop England's number 1 for Dean Henderson.
For England's number 3.
Well, you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly what's happening. So then, in Tottenham, but he's not better than Lloris, I wouldn't say. So
yeah. You've got Spurs and
you've got Ramsdale at Arsenal now.
Yeah.
But you got
Spurs and Leicester.
You go further down that list, going down that Premier League.
No one pays.
Wolves.
No one pays.
Jose Sarr, he's not better than Jose Sarr.
No, he's not on off of that money, I don't think.
Exactly what I was just about to say. Exactly what I was just about to say. And then you've got Leicester. He ain't better than Kasper Schmeichel. Until you start getting to Crystal Palace, he might be as good as Guaita, maybe. But until you get down to that end, you may as well be going to Newcastle.
Yeah, I was going to mention, like, that's the only place it's going to be, because it's going to be Newcastle, Leicester, or Tottenham. And I'm saying Leicester and Tottenham because they've both got aging goalkeepers, but goalkeepers still last a long time anyway. So they could last.
They've got years in them yet.
Yeah, they're about 35, aren't they? The pair of them, Lloris and Schmeichel. Yeah, they could probably play for another 5 years up until the 40. Lloris will probably be more likely to leave before Schmeichel ever does it. Leicester.
But younger than that, though, when he Kasper Schmeichel.
I think he surprised me when I seen his age. I was sure he was about 35, 36 years old.
Is he?
Yeah. I was surprised when I saw it. I was like, I'm sure he was born in 1986. So I make him 2 years older than me at 33.
3 years younger than me. Okay. Get on.
Yeah, it's surprising. It makes you feel old, doesn't it? Because obviously Schmeichel Senior was playing when we were growing up. So
exactly.
It does make you feel old.
Crazy, mate. Crazy.
Yeah, but I think this is going to be the one where Villa exact a bit of vengeance, and I think they'll win this, Villa. I think they'll be buoyed by a couple of new signings. I don't know whether Coutinho will be fit enough to start.
Coutinho.
Give him a bit.
Going to be revitalised by these new signings, Coutinho and Dino.
He's a good player, isn't he? But you've got to get him back to
at least they've sorted the left-hand side out. Oh.
Well,
So at least it's not the left-hand side out.
Dean is a good attacking fullback. I'll probably a bit more question marks about him defensively. But,
He's better than Target.
Yeah, definitely. Target has improved a lot. I mean, his first season at Villa was a bit of a dodgy signing. This, but he has improved. I just feel there's something in it for Villa to want to win it more than what United. Even though United should be thinking we've got to sort ourselves out and get the win. I think it just might knock them a little bit again on this one. So I've gone for 2-1 Villa.
I've gone 2-1 United.
Well, you've got a good record, I say. Got a good record at Villa Park, and they need to sort of. You can't see Man United losing every week. There will be times when I will say United won these games,
Give it to Eddie Cavani. Honestly, you watch him, Eddie Cavani. I fancy him.
Oh, he's class. I mean, you watch him off the ball movement. I don't think there's many in the world better than him.
No one. Nobody.
Yeah.
Not
for a striker with his instincts, they're brilliant. Yeah.
Brilliant. So I'm not labouring the United game too much, but you've gone with 2-1 to Aston Villa. So what's your bet for what's your in-game betting tip for this one then, Lee?
My old favourite one with my new favourite one with William Hill. They offer over 2 goals, over 10 corners, and over 3 bookings. I think the last time I've seen that is priced at 7-2, so it's probably on the average of about 3 or 4 to 1.
Over 2 goals. Get on.
Over 10 corners and over 3 cards.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Just trying to write it all in, get it all in, see what you've written down. Right, so on to the Sunday fixtures. So we've got 2 at 2 o'clock. First off, we've got Liverpool at home to Brentford.
Liverpool 3-0 win. Next game, please.
It's as simple as that. Even with AFCON.
Yeah, Brentford are just shocking away. They're just saying they ain't half. So I mean, that team that came to Molineux, they had to do it for their own in-game management tactics. Once they got that lead, they just did every dirty tactic they could to win it.
Oh, he's probably got you all season. This Brentford thing. Pontus Jansson, blah blah blah.
I thought. I mentioned it early in the season. I says it was a brilliant tactic because the Man United came to win it, but they haven't done it since. You
mentioned it early in season. You mentioned it every time we talked about Brentford.
I know. But that's the frustrating thing. This isn't a dig at Brentford. This is the frustrating thing about it, but they haven't carried on doing that. Now I'm watching them away, and they look scared all the time.
It's a dig.
It's a way of you're stretching the rules a little bit, but you've won the game, and that's the main thing, isn't it? They ain't going to do it at Liverpool without the players, I'd imagine. Sometimes I think Liverpool maybe 6-7 years ago, you'd probably nick a 1-0 there, wouldn't you? But even with Mane and Salah missing and Keita, is it?
Yeah.
I think there's still enough quality there to cause them problems. So
see how tonight goes.
They should be looking at it, Brentford. There's a chance of a free shot, to try and get something from there. We've had the main attacking talents missing, but I've just gone Liverpool 3-0.
Well, I've gone Liverpool 2-1.
My tip for that one might be a trick. I don't even know if Joel Matip's gone with Cameroon, to be honest with you. He's looked all right, hasn't he?
I think he has, hasn't he?
So I don't know who'd be Van Dijk's central defensive part, but my tip for that one.
Phillips.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't had many chances, has he? Or Kanate maybe.
Kanate, yeah.
Yeah, he'll probably be in there.
Yeah, Kanate.
I've gone with Liverpool to keep a clean sheet in this one. Every chance Brentford could score, of course, there's any chance any team can score in the game, but I just feel like they'll win 2-0 in this one.
Okie dokie. Right, on to the second 2 o'clock then. West Ham at home to Leeds. Dirty Leeds.
Yeah, it's been we played again another FA Cup replay game. Bit disappointing in terms of how the match panned out. I didn't watch it fully, but looking back on the match stats, I thought it'd be quite end to end more like match. Like basically, I mentioned that tip for the Villa game. I had that for that game in the FA Cup. I think the hard thing there would have been getting the bookings because you don't see many bookings in the FA Cup for some reason. Don't know why.
Seems to let things go a bit more, don't they?
Yeah. Well, I'd imagine. I don't know whether that's because they might feel like they upset a player for missing next round or something, like for a lower league player or something like that. I wonder if they're just more lenient with the rest of the teams, or these players that get their chance to shine.
Maybe.
I think this one will be more entertaining. I've gone for West Ham to repeat a win, but I think Leeds will score this time. I've gone with West Ham 2-1. Bowen's been banging form, isn't he? Looking on the verge of an England call-up. Mm-hmm. Leeds didn't start Rafinha. I'd imagine they'll start him in the league game. And they'll start. I think they played a few kids in the FA Cup, didn't they? Like Sam Greenwood and that. Mm-hmm. He doesn't play when he's older, I'd imagine. But I think West Ham are in good form, aren't they? Picked up back to where they was. I think that little rest from the Europa League's done them a world of good. And whatever cancellations I've had in between, just give them a little bit of a break on that. So I've gone for West Ham to win 2-1.
Ooh. I'm going with a draw.
But yeah, but again, like sort of like mentioned on the Brentford thing, where you feel like you look at certain games, but they've done this in the one game and then they haven't done it in this one. It's like Leeds when they almost nicked it at Tottenham when I think it's Conte's first home game. I'm sure it was in the Premier League, and they made him look like he made no impact whatsoever on that team. And I think they just brought it on themselves to lose that game. But most of them will probably be looking at West Ham games, should be knowing where to get at them now and try and hurt them. Now, probably the benefit of being a losing team and a team that plays twice in a week is what the weaknesses were and you've got to improve on them.
Yeah. But
there is probably a cast in the day at the mind that you fear losing again.
Well, I think they've got used to that now.
Yeah. They should just go the way they did last year and just go for it. It helped them to a certain extent, didn't it? But there is a few heavy defeats on the way for them if they do open up too much.
Yeah, I just think it'll be a draw. I think West Ham can't win them all, honestly, and the same team keeps playing, and I just think it might be one of them games which is quite scrappy. And yeah. I think Leeds due a result though. So, definitely, yeah. So I think we might pull a draw out of this. And what's your in-game tip for that one then, Lee?
I've gone for Bowen or Rafinha to score at any time. One for each team. Mm-hmm. It's not Bowen and Rafinha. They're good odds if you have both of them to score in the game.
Super duper. Right then. And on to the last game of Sunday 6, which is the 4:30, which is the biggest game in London.
Yes.
To Arsenal.
It's going to be a tough one to really pick on. But I mean, they're going to be through this Arsenal game where they're playing Liverpool at the moment. I'd imagine they ain't going to win that game with Xhaka being out. Well, being sent off, shall I say. Mm-hmm. But they were poor against Forest, really poor. A few players missing to the African Cup. And Spurs weren't that convincing. You can see it in Conte. He's just, I really think in Conte's mind, he's thinking, what the hell have I done? I really do think he wishes he took the Man United job and just held out a couple of weeks. I don't know why he didn't, to be honest with you. I'm
amazed United didn't go balls deep in trying to get him, man. Honest to God.
Well, he's a natural ball winner. I've probably said it on every show since he's been in. He's a natural born winner. And they bring that mentality back to United. It might not have happened this season. It probably would have done to an extent. He'd have improved it. But by next season, I think he'll sort it. But I think Tottenham's one of them cursed clubs where just whatever you bring in is sort of like Everton when they're bringing these world-class managers. Even they can't turn it around. I don't know whether there's a peer pressure from fans half the time, like too much expectation thrown in.
I'd say so.
I think Arsenal are in a much better position now. So I think they've got a direction because of the kids coming through, and but even if they don't get Champions League, I think many Arsenal fans will tell you they probably weren't expecting Champions League this year. So if they finish top 6, that's an improvement for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
they're going somewhere.
Definitely.
But Spurs, I think Conte looks fed up already. I think he's thinking if he don't get the players he wants in January, I can't see him going past the summer.
I think he'll just leave. Be a free agent.
Yeah. It's notorious in Italy, the amount of clubs that Italian managers manage in Italy. You look at half of the resumes, half of them have managed every club in the Serie A.
Really, every club in Serie A, exactly.
Yeah.
Madness.
So Conte's managed a load of I mean, like, people probably think he started at Juventus. I think he had about 3 teams before Juventus.
He did.
So,
two before Juventus, I think.
Yeah, he's had a few since, hasn't he? So,
So go on, what's your score?
1-1 I've gone for.
I've gone with 2-2.
It's I'm probably thinking more based on the last games, the amount of chances wasted by Spurs. Arsenal didn't create many, but completely different in the derby. Everything goes out the window, doesn't it? Anything can happen. I've gone over 45 booking points on that one.
Okay. Right then, guys. That's the end of our Premiership score predictions and in-game betting tips for this round of fixtures. So what we're going to do, we're going to stop this one, and then you're going to tune in again, and we're going to release another one, which is for all you EFL fans out there. And we're going to go with straight through what we think, how we think it's going in the Championship, in League One and in League Two. We're going to look at the title challenges and the relegation battles. So tune in again. Thanks for tuning into this one. Please like, share and subscribe and click the bell button to keep in touch with all our content. And thanks for watching. Good to see you, Leroy. See you again in a minute.
Yeah, see you in a minute.
Take it easy, boy. And
Yeah,
thanks very much, guys. See you soon.